And I was fast. That connected right away. This is Kurt. I am your host of the Mañana morning check-in. And folks, if you are watching this live on YouTube or you're watching the replay somewhere else, like on your LinkedIn feed, I am super stoked to have you join me for the Mañana morning check-in. Now, today is not the morning. Today, well, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon here in Southern California. And that's because I have been getting ready for a 5-hour webinar that I will be hosting tomorrow called the Power Sports Roundtable. And I did one back in December and it went really well. It was our first one back in December. We had, 5 experts talk, each person about 45 minutes with a break in between with the roundtable, and brought together a bunch of ideas to kind of help forge forward and help people in the power sports industry find their little corner of success. And so it went really well. And we had some questions about when we do another one, and tomorrow's the day, right? So April 29th. If you are a power sports dealer or you work in the service industry with vehicles and stuff like that, and you find any interest in this, you're welcome to come. It's a free webinar, and it is tomorrow, the 29th. It starts about 9 o'clock in the morning and finishes at 2. It's 5 hours. Again, we're bringing 5 professionals to the table. I've even got a guest speaker joining me in my service talk. And we're, again, looking to just add value to people in the power sports industry. It's kind of our way of paying it forward. Each of us has our own niche in the industry that we fill, but together we offer a really good, well-rounded package to folks that own power sports dealers and need to make these types of decisions on moving forward and growing their business. So I look forward to seeing them tomorrow. On top of other things, man, I just got to tell you, yesterday, you know how things work out. Sometimes things work out, sometimes things don't, right? Yesterday, I had one of those moments where I said, I just got to get out and I gotta exercise. I gotta get on the mountain bike. And so I packed up the mountain bike, and my daughter had her wisdom teeth out yesterday. And so there was some stuff I had to pick up at the store for her. So I drove down to the store, boom, done. Okay. Trust me, there's an end to this. And so I was going to go bicycling in Santiago Oaks, which means getting on Highway 91 and exiting Corona and going towards Santiago Oaks. Well, traffic came to a stop. Here we are, supposed to be a pandemic, partial lockdown. Some companies are shut, some companies are open, whatever. I'll tell you what, everybody was on the highway yesterday. So the highway shut down. So I managed to get off and, make a U-turn, get on the highway going the other way. And I'm like, you know what, if I can't go to Santiago Oaks, I'll just go to Sycamore. Sycamore Trail is different. So Santiago Oaks is kind of mountainous. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. If I do 7 miles in Santiago Oaks, it's like doing 15 or 16 miles in Chino Hills State Park or Sycamore. So I said, okay, I'll just go to Sycamore. It's over by Jensen USA, really big bicycle distributorship, right? So I start heading across town over there. I'm on the 91. Now I'm heading east, right? And I'm going out towards Riverside. And sure enough, Google goes off and it says, you've got a 17-minute delay ahead. And all of a sudden, traffic comes to a stop again. Now, I'm a little frustrated, right? I've been on the road for an hour and 15 minutes and I still haven't seen any dirt yet. So I hit Google up and I say, mountain biking near me, mountain bike trail near me. And it says, hey, go to Two Trees. Two Trees is 4-point-something miles away, and it's that way, right? So it's off the highway. I'm like, peace, I'm out, I'm gone. I get off at the next exit and I follow the directions to this Two Trees trail. And it said, Google said it was a difficult trail. Whatever. I'm a mountain biker. I can do whatever, right? And so I get there, I take a look around, I'm like, wow, this is really pretty here. And and that's saying something, out in the high desert in your Riverside, right? So I go, wow, that's really pretty here. So take the mountain bike off, I click in, set up all my GPS stuff, so I can track my ride. I like to brag about my distance. And I bail off into this trail and it goes down, across a bridge, and then up. And it's just like rocks and obstacles and stuff, right? And I'm pedaling. Folks, I had like 0.13 miles on the clock and I had to pull over and catch my breath. It was like straight up and rocks and obstacles and things in the trail. It was obviously a hiking only trail. I didn't see another bicycle mark in the trail anywhere. Typically, when I go to these trails, you'll see, tons of footprints and tons of, linear lines like bicycles, right? There were no other bicycle marks in this trail. So I catch my breath. I get back on and start pedaling again. And I am wheezing and grinding this out to try and get up this hill. And so I keep going, and stopping, going and stopping, going and stopping. I got to a pretty big outcropping, and I did a little hike a bike, walked the bike up, and I took some good pictures, right? So I got some really lovely pictures of this place. And then people, I was pedaling up again, and people coming down the trail, just looking at me like I'm crazy, right? And I'm all trying to work, and I do. I push harder than maybe I should sometimes, but I'm looking at the odometer and I'm going, 0.4 miles, and I was exhausted. So I kept going, and I got up there, and I got about almost a mile up, right? And another big rock outcropping had popped up, and I thought, do I really want to go rock climbing with a mountain bike on my back today, or do I just want to turn around and go back to the truck? I mean, I already spent, an hour and a half to get to this place, which is only 8 or 9 miles from my house, right? And so I turn around, and going down this trail was a blast. I jumped everything, right? So, right. So I was having a blast. It was great. On the way out, remember I said you go down over a bridge. So I went over the bridge, and as I was coming up, I think I'm by myself, right? And it's, you're like climbing this wall to get out of this place, and it's not far, but it's steep, right? And I'm all, really fighting. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to finish this ride. I'm not going to hike a bike out of this thing. I'm going to make it. And right, and I'm like, yeah. And when I get to the top, I'm like, right on. And then I look over, and there's a couple standing there right by the gate waiting to come into the trail. And I was mortified. I was like, folks, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I thought I was by myself. And they were laughing. First they were looking at me like I was crazy, right? But then when I got, when I acknowledged them and said, whoa, sorry, I thought I was by myself, I didn't mean to freak you out. They just started laughing. They thought that was the funniest thing ever. I checked my GPSs, and I did less than 500 feet of climb, which is probably one of my least amounts of climb all year. And what was it? 1.5 miles, 1.6 miles, something like that. I have it here on the Strava. I wonder if I should even look it up while I'm doing this. It was just too funny. And it was such a beautiful trail. It was really good to look at. And here it is, 1.57 miles and 428 feet of climb, right? And it says 22 minutes, 13 seconds. It was the hardest 22 minutes and 13 seconds I've spent in a long time. So at the end of the day, I was really thankful that I got some exercise. I was really thankful that I had a moment in time to stop and think. I've been doing a lot of reading lately. Lately, I've been reading from the book of James, which I finished up this morning, but I had read James, and then I was working in the journal, right, as you guys know. And then I've got the devotional that I do every day. And getting out and mountain biking and being in God's creation gives me the ability to kind of soak some of that stuff in, a chance to think about stuff that I've written for the daily email that goes out. Now, we started up daily emails again this week. And this week, I put out one yesterday that was talking about the empowerment that you give yourself by being willing to break some rules, right? Talked about empowering yourself through rule breaking. And so that was yesterday's message. And then today's message went out, and it was the 5 risks of breaking rules, right? So what do you think tomorrow's message is going to be about, right? It's going to be the 5 benefits of breaking the rules. And what I want people to do is I want them to kind of examine themselves, through this week's exercise. And I want them to kind of say, okay, what is my risk reward threshold? Like, am I willing to upset a couple of friends to pursue success and excellence in another area? Am I willing to differentiate myself from others based on what I believe to be correct? Am I willing to draw a line in the sand and be be myself and have the opinion that I need to have for myself, this week, today, this hour. And I think those are important things. There's so much going on right now where everything's open to interpretation now, right? All of a sudden, your opinion and your feelings, they have just as much merit as fact sometime. And as I look at what's going on around us, I think it's important sometimes we draw that line in the sand, right? And we hold ourselves accountable, and we try to be open, but also know what we think, why we think it, and have things thought through. And for me, it was just 22 minutes, right? 22 minutes on a trail, huffing, puffing, and wheezing. But it gave me the reset that I needed to be able to come home, be positive, be productive, and be a good member of my household, right? Now, today's been a bunch of prep for this 5-hour webinar that's going to happen tomorrow, and I'm super stoked to go and deliver that. And then we'll see what Friday has to offer, right? But here we are. We're, year and a half into Mañana No Mas being a real thing, right? A year and a half of Mañana No Mas providing value to customers and corporations, building training and learning platforms, social platforms, and lending consulting to some of these companies to help them find success. And I, for one, am super thankful that it has worked out as well as it has. And I'm looking forward to seeing the growth as we move forward. So folks, as you listen to these messages come through on the Mañana No Mas channel, some of it is to obviously promote Mañana No Mas, but the other part of it is to try and inspire you to go find your own piece of excellence somewhere. You'll notice I don't sell a lot during these calls or during the emails that I send out. And that's because my number one goal is to add as much value to people as I can, right? And then through adding that value, opportunity will come that will enable me to fund the things that I like to do. Folks, have yourselves a great day. Again, if you get a chance, or if you know somebody that needs to be in this 5-hour webinar tomorrow, I'd love to have them. Send them to powersportroundtable.com. powersportroundtable.com. We even have replays from the original PowerSport Roundtable in the menu at the top right-hand of the page. I love you, folks. You guys have a good one, and I will probably not do a live tomorrow because I'll be in that webinar, but I'll see you again on Friday.